So hello everyone, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be watching the live events for the Gundam Battle Laboratory from Gundam Base in Tokyo, and we're going to actually be speculating on how this works. What I'll do is I'll talk you through how I think it works, and we can have a conversation going in the comments and just see what's going on, because we can glean a little bit more from this as well, because of the fact that we have it translated here, or at least a little bit translated. I know Google's not good at translating normally, but at least it'll give us some idea of what's going on, especially with keywords, so let's do this. So at the moment, this is just the introduction saying about the Gundam Battle Laboratory, so they're going looking at the Gundam here. This is what they call the Saber Gundam. And you can see that immediately the things that stand out are the fact that he's used pla plate there, and a little bit later on he says he used putty as well. So this is where it's really interesting, because people were saying, well, what happens with customs? And pla plate and putty is the most custom thing that you can use to ever do something like this. This is probably why the shoulders, the arms, and the legs look kind of unique. I can see the Build Strikes backpack there, or at least it looks like it, part of it, because you can see the cockpit. You can also see the X Gundam's torso there. I'm not so sure about the head. The head looks a little bit like a ground Gundam with some extra parts stuck on it, possibly from wing to make those kind of like horn things going up. I'm not even sure about the V-fin at this point, but it's a lot of different custom kits by the look of it. Here we go. This is a key point where he says the Saber Gundam was made using polyplate, and then says putty at the bottom. So it is a completely custom kit. It's as custom as you can get in terms of using putty and plate to make up different parts. So for anyone that was worried about whether you can do customs or not, or whether it'll register customs, it will register anything that it scans in by the look of it, based on this machine. So what they do is they go over the capture system now, and the capture system I really like, because it uses a system that's very similar to what Kojima Productions used on Metal Gear Solid when they were scanning in characters. It's a set or an array of cameras that scan from different angles and take pictures and then send that data back to the computer. But the setup is really important as well. It's better being in a full studio that's white with a lot of strobes on, because then it gets rid of shadows and all the other things. Also, you'll notice, and I've just noticed this myself, that it doesn't really do well with the white wings. And it's possible that because of the way the wings are done and there's no other colours around them or anything, it's not picking them up against the background as well, because the wings are the only thing that it doesn't really render out properly. But you'll see the small red points on the actual kit are where it's scanning and taking photos at the moment, and they're just rotating the kit. Now we can see a close-up here. That head unit, I still think looks like the ground Gundams, but it could be totally different. It looks like it's heavily modified. It's hard to put a finger on it. I'm only saying the ground Gundam because the amount of clearance it has over the front of the eyes, because the ground Gundam's helmet at the front has a lot of clearance from the where the eyes are. It's crazy. It might not be. It's looking completely different at this point. I'm not sure whether the shoulders are completely custom or whether they're modified wings. You know, like Wing Gundam's shoulders, they look kind of like it. The shields on the arms look completely unique as well. They're like shield weapons. The actual armor on the arms, I imagine, is done with pla plate. It's hard to tell at this point what exactly they did to this kit, but it's heavily modified. So here they go on about the fact that the points actually rotate round, or rather the cameras rotate round the Gundam as it's taking shots, so that they can get the most accurate scan that they can. Apparently, it takes a little while, but it's really good to do. As you can see, it comes up on screen, and it shows exactly what they're scanning. It tells them where all the points are and also all the lines. They compare it to like a line drawing. But as you can see, the lines on the wings there are pretty faint. And then as you can see here, it's scanned everything else pretty well, just not the wings. Like, I'm going to have a look around here now, but they're on about the fact that the V2 assault pack and the silhouette crossbone there are in the background and have seemingly cleaner results. So it seems to vary at the moment. Let's have a look here. I'm trying to see if there's any other problems. It looks like the horns on the head didn't come out too well either. That are either side, like ears. I'm wondering whether this... I initially said that this was Gundam Breaker 3's engine, only because it looked that fast, but I'm actually thinking, and it would make more sense for it to be a prototype in Unreal Engine 4, possibly based off New Gundam Breaker's engine, just because of how it starts up. Mainly because when the Gundam lands, it has a similar effect to New Gundam Breaker. They're just going on about how it's a very simple engine at the moment, and it allows you to boost around. I honestly think this is something that's built off the basis of New Gundam Breaker's engine, because they have a base station nearby and everything. It would be easy to set it up on Unreal Engine. Plus, with Unreal Engine 4 having advanced plugins and things like that, they could, or the ability to have those plugins be used on Unreal Engine 4, it's possible that they've taken this 3D scanning technology and coded it into Unreal Engine 4 so it can then be used as a prototype demo. I'm not sure how they would do the weapons here. It looks like they've coded some of the weapons in themselves and then said, look, it's on this type of frame, let's just go for it. They don't show a clean transition between the two, so it's possible that they already had this set up to the side. I mentioned it in the comments too, I think it was Mecha, but it's possible that they already had this scanned in before and had time to pre-code the weapons and things like that, or place them in different areas. It might be that they have a customizable menu where they go through and say, look, you put a beam rifle here, you put a saber here, and then in-game it comes out like that. I'm not quite sure myself, but the way that skeletons work in Unreal Engine 4, I can imagine it happening like that, where they say, okay, we want a standard looking beam rifle to be in this hand, so they just have a customizable menu that allows you to choose which hand you want your weapon to go in or whatever. At this point, I'm just assuming it, but they even admit it's a very simple game. They're just using it as target practice. You can see them aiming at what looks like cylinders in the background with harrow heads. And then you get graded on your result, but they say that it's a trial at the moment. That's really good. I can't wait to see where this goes, to be honest. Here we go. They're on about or it looks like, to me, they're on about tweening the way that it works or tweaking it to make sure it's more accurate, because of the way that the points weren't working properly, and to make sure that it can register multiple parts correctly as well. Apparently it's actually somewhere in the middle of development, and so it'll be a while before it's released. The reading system is actually being used for agricultural use. That's interesting. So they're using stuff that would be used on agriculture, for God knows what, for Gundam at the moment. Including game characteristics. That's what they're working on. They're looking to build more on it in the future and get it up to scratch. I can't make anything from that. When you make figures, it 3D scans human beings, so it's a little bit harder using it for products, apparently. That's what I can get from that at the moment. So what they're trying to do is they're using this technology as a basis, and they want to build something that's a lot more compact. They want to get to the point where they're basically doing stuff that they would in the anime, but in real time. So they want a compact scanning system so that they can just put it in stores and other things and have people scanning their Gundam. So that's what they're working on at the moment, using this agricultural system as the basis. So what they're doing is they're taking information from other areas and using that to try and develop it a little bit more. They want to be able to get it more accurate in future. And increase the speed as well, so that they can then do future exhibitions with it. So then they just go on about the event for the rest of it. So everything's looking really interesting for the moment. We can tell that, one, it's almost halfway through development. They're using experimental technologies from the agricultural section, and they're getting feedback from other areas to try and improve and shrink that technology down. And they're also working on the rest of the technology, the engine, and the way everything works in game. They're trying to work on that so that they can then take it to exhibitions and work on it at the same time. This is really neat to see. I like the way that they've shown off a really customized Gundam in this. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I want to keep as much attention on this as possible in terms of, you know, all these news updates that they might be handing out, because this is really revolutionary, I think, just in terms of the way that it works and the potential for it. I don't think anyone can deny at this point that there is potential there. And if they get it working exactly like it does in the anime, that would be fantastic. But it's that whole process of trying to shrink the technology down and then make it affordable depending on what they want to do with it. They might just put it in Gunpla shops like they do in some of the back rooms in the build series, whether it be fighters, Tri, or divers. I have a feeling that they want to get it to divers level, but at this point, they're still obviously developing things really well, apparently what they say is halfway through development, but I think it's really early on, to be honest. So, let's see where this goes. Put your comments down below. How do you think this all went? What do you think about the speculation and the new news that we've got through the little bit of translation that we've managed to understand? I'll see you guys next time. This is really cool stuff.